Hey guys, sup, Ree here for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council with Card versus Card. And the last time we did one of these videos was back in November. And I knew we were taking a December break. I figured we'd have it back in January, but that wasn't the case. A lot of shit went down in January, but we'll get to that at a later time. Anyway, if you're new to Card versus Card, you're in for a very special treat. Let me just say that much. So, basically, this series runs on your request, and I'm looking at March's stuff because there's like 3 of them that didn't make the cut for this one, and they're going into March. So if you don't see or hear your suggestion, that means it's in the March pile. So keep them coming in. We got room for March. I already have a few ideas just in case to kind of keep these going out. These are some of my favorite videos, honestly, to edit. And once we get to the new computer, things are going to be amazing with this whole series. But anyway, here we go. No more wasting time. Card versus Card here on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. Let's do this. Alright, kicking off this month is Astroboy. His suggestion, thank you again for the suggestion, is Shooting Star Dragon versus Stardust Warrior. Which of these two is the better of the 2 cards? Which would you want to play more? That kind of thing. That's how we do Card versus Card. You're actually seeing Stardust Warrior. It's the only Japanese card on this whole video. So let me just put it that way. It's level 10, 3000 attack, and it's generic. So that's a major plus on its part. So we're going to talk about the pros of both of these cards. I actually wrote this down on a notepad. So before we get into that, I think what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly go over Stardust Warrior's effect, which reads, during either player's turn, when an opponent would special summon a monster or monsters, you contribute this card, negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy that monster or monsters. Now this works like Thunder King Ryo, so inherit summons, get around this. During the end phase, if this effect was activated this turn and was not negated, you can special this card from your graveyard, and if this card is destroyed by battle, or if this face-up card leaves the field by an opponent's card effect and still in your possession, you can special summon 1 level 8 or lower Warrior Synchro type monster from your extra deck. That special summon is treated as a Synchro monster. Now, the pros of Stardust Warrior are it's generic. It negates special summons like Thunder King Ryo, get that 3000 stat. It replaces itself on the board. It can get you access into Colossal Fighter, which I think you know where I'm going with Colossal Fighter. And it's also easy as fuck to summon, being level 10 and generic. And if you don't believe that, Raiden plus any level 6 will net you this, or hell, just 2 level 4s and level 2, or you could just play around with the levels so you understand the point of that. Now, Shooting Star Dragon's pros are you can attack up to 5 fucking times with it. That's huge, considering its 3300 beefiness. It only, it can negate attacks, as I say, it only requires Stardust and Formula. That's kind of a negative, but we'll get to that in a minute. But the Stardust Formula is also a positive because you can Synchro Summon on your opponent's turn inside of a chain, so that's also pretty cool. Can negate attacks, that's what I just mentioned, in the effect. Negates destruction without tributing it, so it remains on the field, keeping its field presence, and also has that whopping 3300 attack, which I just can't shut up about. Now, imagine being able to attack 5 times with that. It's so OP. It's not generic like Stardust Warrior, so that's one of the negatives to the reason why Stardust Warrior is going to win this battle and walk away the champ with the belt around its waist, I guess as waist. So the main point is Stardust Warrior is easier to bring out in more decks than Shooting Star Dragon. If we're talking in terms of power, Stardust Warrior still wins. I mean, 5 attacks and negation's great and everything, but Stardust Warrior still, come on, it just fucking replaces itself. It's so good. It's so ridiculously good. We're going to move on to the number 2 spot. Well, the second request, and see you there. Alright, before we go into this, I'd just like to quickly thank Rock the Otaku for the request of Utopia Roots versus Utopia. Now this will probably be the quickest one here. Utopia Roots and Utopia pretty much have the same effect, except for Utopia Roots gaining if it's in Exceed. It's also rank 1 and Utopia being rank 4. So the way we're going to determine this, we're going to look at playability, we're going to look at things that make up the card and the reasons why that one card is better than the other. Utopia Roots is rank 1, so decks like Ghost Tricks can actually abuse the crap out of it, while Utopia has more usage and can actually be played in its own generic deck. And I know Utopia Roots can too. But it's easier to play that Utopia deck because there's so much support to make a rank 4, and then you could just go into overlay, 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 overlay. I think you've seen the videos. If not, I'm going to do one on the council just for that reason. But just for that sheer reason alone, number 39 Utopia, the rank 4 edition, is going to steal the win, no question asked. Alright, before we go fully into this number 3, I'd like to thank Christian Gonzalez for the request of 101 versus Castel. Now, originally when I saw this, I pretty much thought I knew who was going to win, because at the time we were in a different position that 101 was stronger of a card than, say, Castel. Now, given the situation we're in now, Castel actually sees a lot more playability than 101 because it doesn't care if it's a fucking special summon monster or not. It'll just send it right back to the deck. 101's still great, don't get me wrong. That anti-destruction effect has great things going for it. Castel has the double effects. 101 has the double effects too, and can also be laid into the Chaos 101, which is just as great. It sucks up monsters like fucking Relinquish on crack. You gotta love that thing. You have to love that thing. That thing is so good. But because of the format, and this is what I'm judging it on, because of the format that we're in right now, I would easily give Castel the win just because of playability. That Storm says, no, 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 he wants 101. Castel is going to steal the win here, and we're going to move on to the number 5 spot. Thank you. Alright, before we go into number 4 battle, I think I said 5 right before the outtake, I'd like to thank Optic Shibe for requesting this, and let me just say, make sure that if any of you don't agree with what I'm saying, I want to hear it in the comments. I want to hear some suggestions. That's what this comment section's for. Make sure to use it. It's fun. So, he requested Raigeki versus Torrential Tributes. Both of these cards are featured in the cards you should consider playing video, which is out. If you haven't seen that video, I highly suggest seeing it because it basically gives you tips for deck building stuff right now. Things that, I don't know. Basically, I don't know. Things that are good right now that normally were not good a few weeks ago, but because of the Secret Forces, they're good. So both of these cards are truly playable right now. Torrential Tribute, you could chain upon a summon, which means you could take out Yosujin, and that's great for the, Torrential Tribute's stats of just getting a win. Raigeki is faster, it's a spell, you just drop it, it doesn't take out both sides of the field, it only takes out your opponents. I mean, there are some decks that taking out your own side of the field, Gingzing, I'm looking at you, or Ajirai Silver Dragon on the board with its protection or erection effect, that Torrential Tribute's not going to harm you. But it's the same case as Dark Hole, that basically double-edged sword. Raigeki's not. Raigeki's that case that just goes, I don't give a shit, you get the hell off my board, fuck your Djinn Lock, fuck your Vanity's Emptiness, I don't want to deal with that shit today, I just want to get out and just do what I'm going to do. So, both of these cards are extremely playable. Like, right now, it just comes down to what's going to be the better option between these two cards. That's going to be Raigeki. Now, that's not to say if you're considering playing either one of these, you shouldn't play Torrential Tribute. Torrential Tribute's great right now, but it's that double-edged sword kind of, effect going on. Raigeki's just so much faster and better to get you out of that cloth to Djinn Lock. So, Raigeki for the win. Thank you, Optic Shade, and let's move on to our 5th battle. Before we get into the complete 5th battle, let me just thank King of Kairos, I believe I said that right, if I did not, please correct me, for the Armageddon Knight versus Mathematician battle that you're about to witness here. And I like to make sure that you guys know, once again, just last time, sound off in the comments. Sound off in the comments. So Armageddon Knight basically only allows you to send a dark, but it's level 4, so it has the capabilities of making rank 4s. If you're playing heroes, it's actually a great tech card for that deck because usually you don't see it mained. Mathematician is pretty much that I want to set up my deck extremely quickly so I could just target what card I need in the graveyard, especially in sectors. They want that Hornet in the grave, they could just play the Mathematician, get it straight into the grave, no struggle. You send that glow up bulb, go into a level 4 synchro, and just go from there. It's great. You gotta love Mathematician. And when Mathematician dies, he's gonna net you a free +1. The only downside of Mathematician is that he's not level 4. I know I'm level 4 horror when it comes to things that send to the graveyard because I like my rank 4s. I like being able to go with Castel and 101, and that's the benefit that Armageddon Knight carries. Armageddon Knight can only send darks though, and Mathematician can only send level 4 or lower. So they both have a benefit here to win a battle. But it comes down to playability again. What decks are going to get the most use out of both of these cards? And if I break it down, it's going to come to this. Armageddon Knight can send much higher things. Red Eyes Black Dragon for the upcoming Red Eyes Black Dragon support. Any dark that, it doesn't care what dark it is. There's not a level restriction, so that's a pro. It's searchable by reinforcements in the army, that's a pro. It only sends darks, that's a negative, because especially with the diversity that we have right now, it's kind of bad. You can tech this in that cloths just to send a Jin if you really want that lock extremely fast. That's kind of a plus. It's in the middle. Mathematician, on the other hand, you could send stuff that you need in the graveyard: Dandelion, Lone Fire, Plant Engine, Insector Hornet, key cards that you want in that graveyard, shit that's going to trigger straight inside your graveyard. There are plenty of decks that will get a benefit from Mathematician. And it comes down to which of these cards would get the win. It's going to be Mathematician because there's more pros outweighing it. I just can't think off the top of my head, because I had a whole freaking list where Mathematician would shine more. But per example, if you wanted to send, say, Deneb to the graveyard, you're going to use Mathematician. You're not going to use Armageddon Knight. Now, Mathematician is not searchable, but it's still just as great as Armageddon Knight, and you get a free +1. So that's 2 pluses in one card, and hence the win. But let's go on to our last battle, and thank you guys again. Alright, before we do this last battle, let me just thank Owen Dog for the suggestion request. Everyone put that. Battling Boxer Counterpunch versus Boojin Crane. This is going to be fairly easy. Battling Boxer Counterpunch only boosts 1,000, while Boojin Crane doubles the attack. So I have to give it to Boojin Crane. I just definitely have to. Now there are 3 more suggestions that were not made into this card versus card because the production time on these card versus card series, they take quite a bit. I like taking my time with it, and once we get to the new computer stuff, shit's gonna go a lot faster. So still need suggestions. That's what this part of the video is for. Please send in your suggestions. I love reading through every single one of them. Here's the requirements. Take 2 or 3 or 4 random cards that you want to see, just duke it out kind of thing. You know, in a discussion based video like this whole video has been formatted to. Let me know what you guys want to see, and I will definitely do it. Now, if you're not into card versus card, that's fine. We have like 30 other different things we do on this channel, and 30 more still to come. So if you make sure you're heard, then shit will be good for you, especially as we are closing off this month. I just want to quickly say thank you guys for making this one of the best months of the council to date. It's been a hell of an adventure, and we're gonna have a hell of an adventure into March and April and May. I'm looking so forward to those 3 months. So send in those requests. Trust me, production starts now. Like, once this is out to you guys, the production for the March episode is going to go underway. So let me know what you guys want to see, and we'll make it happen. I'm ready for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. You know what to do. Rate, comment, subscribe. Catch you later. Peace.